So hello, my name is Julia and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's class with you because we're going to be doing one of my favorite things to work on at the moment, which is flexibility. So I specifically am working on front splits quite a lot because honestly, day by day, it can change my availability to be able to get into them. And I honestly just love working on flexibility and seeing where the stretches in the body can go, and especially working with this beautiful deep breath, we're going to be able to get deeper into some poses that we know and love. So let's get started standing at the top of the mat, because what we're going to do is start with a couple of sun salutations to warm up the whole body so that we have some heat into the muscles, and then we're going to get into some deep holds. So let's get started. Standing at the top of the mat, take a moment to lift up the toes and drop them down one by one, and maybe rock forward and back. Just starting to feel and ground down onto your mat today. This might be the first thing that you're doing today. If so, make sure to take this even slower and even more carefully than if you've already been active today. We really want to make sure that we don't push ourselves into anything too soon, and we really move slowly and with the breath. So coming into stillness here, we're going to roll our shoulders all the way up to the ears. And exhale, dropping the shoulders down. Activating the fingers and pulling the fingers closer towards the ground. So we're really elongating this part of our neck all the way down into the shoulders. Staying here, inhale. And exhale, seeing if you can energetically pull those fingers down even more. And then slowly bringing your right arm up and over, grabbing the left ear really gently. And we're going to slowly guide that right ear down to the right shoulder. You can close the eyes, but feel that beautiful deep stretch in the left side of your neck and shoulder. Inhale here. Exhale. And then slowly releasing that right hand back down, energetically pulling the fingers down to the mat. And let's take it on the other side. Left arm comes up and over, grabbing the right ear and bringing your left ear towards the shoulders. Inhale here. Exhale. Beautiful. Inhale. And exhale. Nice, releasing that hand here. And now we're going to interlace the fingers behind the head here, opening the elbows away from each other, opening the chest. Inhale. And on an exhale, you're going to bend at the knees and fold over the legs, coming into a ragdoll pose. So here, let your head hang nice and heavy and grab opposite elbow with opposite hand, swaying from side to side, and feel your body fall nice and gently over the thighs. Feel your lower back stretch out, and maybe even in getting into some spinal decompression as we put our heart over our head, maybe for the first time today. Deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Slowly releasing the hands if they were clasping at the elbows, and tuck your chin in towards your chest and roll your way all the way back up to standing. Arms coming up overhead, palms touch. And exhale, bringing the hands down to heart center, closing the eyes off for a moment. You can also bow your chin towards your chest so your head is bowed in towards the body. And just take a moment to set yourself a goal or intention for today's class. Maybe the goal is quite specifically to try your best in front splits today. Or maybe you could think of giving your body grace, giving your body patience and time to really listen to the body, cultivate some awareness, and see how it feels, see if it wants to go deeper or not. Or maybe you have something else in mind. Just take a moment to breathe that in. Inhale, letting that intention sit into the heart space. And exhale, slowly open the eyes and drop the arms down by the side, coming into Tadasana. Let's get moving. So on an inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. And exhale, coming into a forward fold. You can keep the knees nice and bent if needed. Inhale, coming into flat back, so hands up to the shins. And exhale, hands coming down onto the mat. Step the right foot back, step the left foot back, and finding yourself in a high plank. Let's just hold here for a second. Inhale. And exhale, warming up the body. Inhale. And exhale, release the knees on the mat. Release the chest and the chin. Inhale, rolling your way forward into a baby cobra. And exhale, release the upper body, tuck the toes under, hips come towards the heels, and push yourself up for your first downward facing dog. Now taking a moment here to pedal out your feet, bending one knee at a time, maybe shaking your head out. Maybe it feels nice after those gentle stretches we've already done. And maybe bringing a smile to your face because you've showed up for practice and you already know it was a good decision. Breathing deeply here, inhale. And exhale, nice. And then let's slowly look forward and walk the feet towards the hands at the top of the mat, dropping your head down in your forward fold. And on an inhale, come up to your halfway lift. Exhale, back to fold. And then inhale, come all the way back up to standing, palms touching up overhead. And exhale to Tadasana. Now let's do that a little bit faster here with the option of taking Chaturanga instead of knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, coming into forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, your choice, knees, chest, and chin, or coming down through Chaturanga. Inhale into your cobra or upward facing dog, opening the chest. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take 2 deep breaths here. Inhale. And exhale, 1. Inhale. And exhale, 2. Slowly coming up onto the toes, bend the knees, and then make your way to the top of the mat on an inhale, coming into flat back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, arms coming up overhead, palms touch. And exhale to Tadasana. Beautiful. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, back to plank. And your choice of coming down through Chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Just one breath this time. Inhale. Exhale. And then slowly making your way to the top of the mat, coming into our halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And on an inhale, arms coming up overhead, palms touch. And exhale back to Tadasana. Beautiful. Are we feeling warm already? Now we're going to bring the feet mat width distance apart, and your toes are going to be pointing out and your heels are pointing in, coming down into our yogi squat. So slowly bending at the knees, making our way into Malasana, yogi squat, and bringing those elbows on the inside of your legs, palms touch, and then using your palms and your elbows to bring some strength and opening up the hips. Trying to make sure that we're not curled under here. We're lengthening the spine, and that's where that warmth and the core strength always helps, because that allows us to really lift up higher, dropping the tailbone down, lengthening the spine and opening the chest. We're all about length and opening in yoga. Inhale here. And exhale. Beautiful. One more deep inhale together. Exhale. And then we're going to slowly drop our hands down onto the mat, and you can either have your hands on blocks, flat on the mat, or maybe even up onto a little fingertip motion here like a spider, as we're just going to move through some reps. So we're going to inhale, coming into a forward bend. Exhale, dropping the hips and coming back into yogi squat. A few more times. Inhale, coming up into a forward fold. And exhale, back to yogi squat. 3 more. Inhale, lengthening the legs. Exhale, sitting nice and low, feeling those hips warm up. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. One last time. Inhale. And exhale. And then slowly using your core strength, we're going to fire all the way up back to standing and working all the way back up. And exhale, shake it out. Beautiful. That should be quite a nice warmth coming up here into the hips. We're going to warm up a little bit more also the back of the legs now and come into a wide-legged stance. So coming onto the long side of your mat, again, opening the legs here a little bit wider. Again, toes pointing out and heels pointing in. We're going to come down into a couple squats here before we come into a forward fold. So on an inhale, your arms come up overhead, and exhale, sit your hips down. So this is called a goddess squat, and you can bring your arms to goal post here, palms facing in. Inhale, lengthen the legs and arms up towards the ceiling, and exhale, bend the knees and the elbows. Inhale to lengthen, warming up the body. Exhale to come down. Inhale to grow tall. And exhale to come down, strengthening those glutes too. Inhale. And exhale, coming down. And we're just going to hold here. Maybe if you'd like to, you can bring some pulses in if you feel like you really want to fire up the strength in the thighs and the glutes today. And we're going to stay here for another 3. Don't forget to breathe, 2. And 1. Beautiful. Lengthening everything up towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to switch so our toes are pointing forward, so they're in a parallel line with the heels. And on an inhale, lengthening higher up towards the ceiling. And exhale, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Now see how you feel here. I would like to lengthen or widen the stance a little bit more while I come down. And you can bring your hands again onto a block on the fingertips, on the palm of your hands, or maybe even bending the elbows too. And if you can, try and walk the hands in line with the feet here as you drop your head down. If you're feeling quite flexible here, you can also bend at the elbows and try and make sure that the elbows are pointing towards the other long side of the mat here, so they're not opening out. Inhale here. And exhale, maybe fold a little bit deeper. Inhale here. And exhale. And then slowly walking the hands over to the right foot here. We're going to hold here for 2 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Deep inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Slowly make your hands all the way over to the left side now. 2 breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. Deep inhale. And exhale. Lovely. Working with the breath. And now slowly coming back to center. And then just bending the knees slightly and roll your way all the way back up to standing. Arms coming up overhead. Grow tall. And exhale. Release the hands down. You can walk your feet in hip width distance apart and maybe shake it out a little bit here. Beautiful. Nice. So let's move on now to the back of our mat here. We're going to come into downward facing dog. So bring on an inhale, bring the arms up overhead, palms touch. And on an exhale, coming into our forward fold. Let's simply walk our hands out into downward facing dog and stay here for 1 deep breath. Inhale here. And exhale. Beautiful. And on an inhale, we're going to lift the left leg out behind us into 3-legged dog. Bend the knee and open the hip. And let's take some hip circles here, trying to make this time, normally I say do whatever you want, small or big, but this time try and make them as big as possible. We want to see that big range of motion within the hips. And then switching the directions. Beautiful. Then slowly coming back to left leg out behind you, and then bring the left foot in between the hands at the top of the mat. Let's drop that right knee down here. I'm so sorry, I'm struggling with my top here. It wants something to happen that I do not want to happen. So if you see me wiggling around, you'll know why. So we're in our low lunge here. You can either keep the back toes under, which helps to protect the knee a little bit more, or flatten out the foot. Your choice, yogi's choice. And we're just going to stay here. So again, using those blocks to have your hands up here, if this is too much, on the fingertips or even on the flat of the palm. And again, if you don't have blocks, then maybe what you want to do is bring the palms of the hands onto the top of this left thigh and just push your chest open and staying here. So again, yogi's choice, allowing yourself to really sink those hips down towards the mat. And if you have any problems with the knees, make sure you double up your mat or put a blanket under the knee that's on the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, melting down. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. And now let's bring the hips back here, coming into a half split, flexing that front foot. And on an inhale, we lengthen the spine so the crown of the head's going towards the top of the mat. And on an exhale, you can slowly fold over this left leg. Maybe walking the hands forward here so you can have an even longer spine, making sure the shoulders are dropped away from the ears. And then flexing that left foot as much as you can, because that really helps to deepen the stretch that you're getting here in the back of the leg. And don't worry if this knee is bent right now. This practice is made so you can do it again and again. So maybe bit by bit you can weasel your way into the front splits. Beautiful. Inhale here. And exhale. And then slowly coming back forward here, we're going to inhale, lift the arms up, coming into low lunge. And then exhale, dive those hands forward, place them on the mat and come back into our halfway split. Just moving with the breath. Inhale, coming forward, low lunge. And exhale, hips back, half split. One more time, inhale. And exhale, here. And try and keep your balance, inhale. And then staying here in our low lunge. We're taking one last stretch here so you can bring your hand onto your left hip and lean over to the left. That's getting even deeper into the right hip flexors here. And if you feel like you have the flexibility, you can bring the tips of your fingers down onto the mat and lean over. Feeling that beautiful stretch along the front of the right thigh. Breathing here, inhale. Sorry, the stretch was so good. I was losing track. Inhale and exhale. And then slowly using your core strength to lift up, plant the hands on the mat and just simply step back to downward facing dog. Not too many vinyasas today, don't worry, it's all about the stretching. And let's go straight to the other side. So right leg goes out behind us into three-legged dog, bend the knee and open the hip. And let's take those big hip circles here on the right side. Remembering to stay with the breath, opening the hips. And then reversing the direction. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, slowly coming back to center. Now bringing the right foot in between the hands at the top of the mat and this time dropping the left knee down. And we're just going to stay here. So we're actively trying to draw those hips down towards the mat, but still opening the chest and keeping a nice long spine. Breathing deeply here. Exhale. You can close the eyes even and try and cultivate that body awareness as we sink those hips down. Inhale. And exhale. One more deep inhale here. And exhale. And then slowly bringing the hips back, flexing that right foot here. We're coming into our halfway split. So lengthening the spine on an inhale, crown of head reaching towards the top of the mat. And exhale, folding over the legs. Let's breathe deeply here into the back of the right leg. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then let's move breath to movement again. Inhale, coming forward, arms up into low lunge. And exhale, placing the hands down, hips back, foot is flexed. Inhale, coming forward into low lunge. And exhale, foot back, foot flexed. Inhale, low lunge. Last time, exhale, half splits. And then our last little stretch on this side, coming back up into our low lunge, and then placing your right hand on your right hip and leaning over to the right. And again, if you feel flexible enough, you can also drop those fingertips down as long as you make sure you're not folding over. You're keeping nice and open, left shoulder away from the ears, leaning over to the right. Inhale here. And exhale. And then using your core strength, let's lift all the way back up to low lunge, plant the hands on the mat, and step back into downward facing dog. And if you'd like to, you can take a vinyasa now if you want to bring some more heat into the body. Inhale and down dog if you're still here. And exhale. Beautiful. Now let's come into one-legged pigeon. So let's bring the left knee forward into one-legged pigeon, starting on this side, flexing that left foot as well, and then just seeing how your pigeon feels today. Maybe you want to stay up here on the fingertips or on some blocks. Maybe you're coming down onto some forearms, or you're reaching all the way out, bringing the forehead down onto the mat. Again, listening to your body today, and we'll stay here on your chosen side for 3 deep breaths. Seeing if while we're in pigeon, you can let any muscle that doesn't need to be holding any tension right now relax. The more we soften and relax the body, the easier it is to get into some of these flexibility positions. When we're all tense and stiff, obviously it's harder for our body to just relax and soften. So use this pigeon pose as your test practice for softening the body and allowing you to go deeper. Maybe already, if you were on the forearms, you want to walk your hands out, or maybe if you're up on the hands, you maybe test placing those forearms down with some deep exhales. Whatever you're doing, take one more deep breath here. And exhale. And then let's slowly lift up onto the hands, and we'll just come back into a downward facing dog. So tuck the back toes under, come into downward facing dog, and we're going to switch sides. Right knee comes forward, coming into our one-legged pigeon on this side, seeing how you're feeling on this side in comparison to the left, and then taking the pigeon pose that suits you and your body today. Again, either on the forearms or walking your arms out. Maybe closing the eyes. And really connecting with this part of the body today. How does that right glute feel? Can you send some deep breaths into this area? Can you soften your body as much as possible now? Can you come back to your intention? Allowing yourself one more deep moment of relaxation before we do our first split practice. Inhale. And maybe exhale, sighing out the mouth. Beautiful. Slowly walking back up onto the hands. And let's come back into a tabletop now. So actually bringing both knees down and both hands down. And we're just going to take some spinal circles here, just to release any extra tension that might have still been stored into the hips. Breathing deeply. And then coming back to center. Okay, beautiful. So tuck the toes under. We're going to come back into a downward facing dog, and you stay on your mat. I am moving off my mat because my mat likes to make strange sounds when I try to get into my front split. So I'll save you from that. Coming back into our downward facing dog. What we're going to do is we're going to come forward with the left foot in between the hands again and drop the right knee down. So we're back into our nice low lunge. And then we're going to add on some options. So option 1, stay here. Maybe you can also take that nice flow again, play around with that here. Or option 2, we're going to kick that front foot forward. And here you can see that my hips do not want to meet the ground already. That is fine. That's where you take your pillow or your block and you sit it underneath your hips. You also have 2 settings with your block, so you can also make it the taller one. I'm going to go with this one because I'm feeling that feels good for me today. And then you stay here. Once you get here, you can maybe play around seeing how it feels to lift your hands off the mat. Maybe you want to already see if you can lift your hands up, placing the palms together. Maybe you can even lean back a little bit. Wherever you are, taking some deep breaths. Maybe you're doing that little flow. Maybe you're here with 2 pillows underneath you. It doesn't matter. It's all about taking your time to get into it and just taking some deep breaths. And whenever it is too much, please, using your hands, lift up, bring the left knee to meet the right and come into a child's pose. I'm going to stay here a little bit longer for the people that want to still practice. So holding here, maybe playing around, making sure you take those deep breaths here. Exhale. One more deep breath here. And then maybe challenge yourself. I'm going to take this block away, see how it feels today. I'll stay here, breathing deeply. And then slowly using my core strength, bringing that left knee to meet the right and making your way into a nice child's pose. I'll go back on my mat for that. So bringing your seat to your heels, allowing yourself to enjoy a nice child's position here. And knowing that I've done front splits multiple times, but maybe because today I didn't sleep so well and because I've already been on a 10K run, maybe my hips are tighter. I also didn't do so much warm-up prep before this, and that's okay. It's all just knowing your options so that you can push into whatever you want on that day, whatever feels good for your body. So taking your time. I didn't want to push it and stay in too long without the block. So sitting on that block is perfectly fine. So when you're ready, let's do the other side. Coming up into that down dog again, I'm moving off my mat. And then this time we're moving forward with the right leg. So both sides are going to be totally different, and don't worry about that at all. Again, having your block handy, and maybe you're taking your nice little flow here, just opening up the hips even more, which is going to help you in the future. Or maybe you want to go with me and push that front leg forward. Sitting on your block here, pushing the back leg out, flexing the front foot, and maybe playing around a little bit here. Inhale. And exhale. I picked a bad day to film this video because my hips are very tight. I did a lot of walking at the weekend, and I also just did a run today, so we'll get there. But yeah, again, it's all about patience here. So I probably on this side, I'm just going to stay onto the block, but if you'd like to, you can play around with taking the block out, sitting it to the side, and just making sure you have your hands here to keep you stable. Inhale here. And exhale. And then when you're ready, using your hands and your core strength to push yourself back into your child's position. Taking 2 deep breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful relaxation. Inhale. And exhale. And then slowly plant your hands on the mat. Keep your legs the way they are. And on an inhale, we're going to roll forward as if we're coming through cat pose. And we're going to drop the hips down, open the chest. Oh, that's a nice release here. Exhale, belly button towards spine. Curl your way back. Last time, inhale, rolling forward, dropping the hips. And exhale, coming back. And then slowly, let's walk the hands towards the body now and make your way into a comfortable seated position. Oh, your hips should feel nice and open now in this cross-legged seated position. So on an inhale, let's lift those arms up overhead, palms touch. And then exhale, quick little side bend, right hand down, left arm up and over. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale through center. Take an easy twist over to the right. Right hand behind you, growing tall in the spine. Inhale. And twist. And inhale. Let's take it over to the left. Left hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, twist. And then last time, inhale, arms up overhead, palms touch. And this time, give yourself a little clap here. Not something I usually do, but I'm so proud of you for trying something new today. That is amazing. It's always fun to play around with different asanas. And I love the thing about yoga that it's not competitive. It's all about how your body feels today and listening to you and only you. So take that with you for the rest of the day. I hope you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see you next time. Let me know in the comments how you got on and if you have any questions. Bye.